Hello and welcome to my Tesla 3-year review. I have driven this car almost 120,000 kilometers now, and I think it's time now to give you guys a proper review. I will be highlighting a lot of the negatives and a lot of the positives. And when I touch on the negatives, it's not going to be something as simple as my water bottle doesn't fit in the cup holder, so Tesla has to make bigger cup holders. No, I'm going to be voicing my real concerns today, and a lot of the things I might mention are going to be kind of a double-edged sword. So positive and negative at the same time. So let's get started. So I bought this car in September 18th, 2021, so this is the 2021 model. I wanted to get the 2021 model or newer because I knew that the heat pump was included, which was a big thing since I live in Alberta, Canada, and it gets really snowy and really cold here. I bought this Tesla Model 3 Performance, financed it with the ticket price of $80,000, and with a 3% fixed rate interest, it goes around more closer to $90,000. And about a year in, this car lost a lot of its value. The performance Tesla Model 3s were actually going for around 20% less, just like that. So one of the actual positives of this car is the gas savings, and I just have to charge this car with a normal plug or with a 30 amp plug, usually the dryer plug. If you get it installed into your house, that's a better option. If you're just going to plug it into the dryer plug, then that's up to you. But I do think that if you have a built-in charger at home, this car is more worth getting, and charging it slowly is not as nice. Comparing it to a gas car, you do get some savings on the maintenance side because it's electric, so you don't have to do any oil changes, you don't have to change the timing belt, do any type of liquid changes. The only actual liquid in this car is the windshield washer fluid, which I actually can't get open right now. We'll get to that in a minute. So another highlight of this car is the performance. The instant acceleration is amazing, especially in nice weather. You get some neck-breaking acceleration. It's so quick, it's astonishing every time. I don't accelerate like when I first got the car, but it is very nice to have, especially in dangerous situations where somebody is going to cut you off or you are cornered, then you might want to have that power. Now this is pretty much an iPhone on wheels, and I like the tech around it. It's very minimalist. Too bad the leather is not real leather. With the ticket price of $80,000, you would expect it to be a little more luxury and for it to have real leather in the seats. Maybe if they would have that option, that would be preferred, but since we are eco-friendly and more environmentally or animal aware, then we're not going to get real leather. That's totally fine. But there are other things about this car that are vegan that might surprise you. Another positive of this car is the software updates, and I know people rave about the software updates as if they're going to maintain the actual value of your car, which is not the case at all. But it is nice for Tesla to give me full self-driving. The car actually has full self-driving as we speak. Not that I can use it. And I had it in the summer for about a month. And I do have some sample videos of the full self-driving, so you guys can check it out. It's not as good as you think. It's really not. If you're a terrible driver, then maybe it's good. If you're in a traffic jam, then maybe. But you have to have your hands on the wheel, and you have to be awake, head forward. The camera's watching you at all times if you do full self-driving, so at that point, you're pretty much watching the road and driving as it is. So it does take some ease off the driving. It's like an advanced cruise control. So one thing about this car that I really like is that it's silent. And a lot of the time it's silent, but the times that it's not silent, it's extremely disruptive. And I'll go further into this when I point out the negatives of this car. In my model car, it has thicker glass in the front so that less wind noise enters the car. In the back, it's thinner glass. So either way, you experience a lot of road noise, and it's not the quietest car. Yes, it's electric and it doesn't make noise, but all the wind noise is not the best part about it, especially when you're going higher speeds. Now for the negatives. It's like I could start my own show called Tesla Chronicles, where I just highlight a lot of the lowlights, a lot of the negatives of owning a Tesla, because I've gone through so much with this car. So much. And that's why I'm making this video, so that you guys can be informed before you buy a car. Use my affiliate link below. I get a little credit, and you get some like $1,000 off if you buy a car using this link. So if you do decide to buy this car, just keep aware. Please stay till the negatives. And here it is. Road noise. As we mentioned before, the road noise is not non-existent. It's actually quite prevalent in this car, especially because it's quiet. And it's not sealed off like as well as another car, as well as the older car manufacturers. This is a new car manufacturer. This is Tesla. They have been in business for how long? 20 years? Not even. So, the road noise is not good. The build quality is not as good. So some things about this car, including a lot of the build quality issues that people have had in the past years. This is 2021, so you would expect it to be a little better. Well, with normal wear and tear, with driving this car like it should be driven, like a sports car, because it is a sports car, a sleeper sports car, because it looks the same as even the rear-wheel drive model, just a little spoiler in the back. It has its issues. Its structural issues, and the bottom, the belly of the car, when I was on my way to Vancouver Island, right when I was getting close to Vancouver, the actual city, the bottom came out. And not out and just fell out, but it came out hanging, and the wind picked up on it, and it made this terrible metallic sound hitting the ground repeatedly. Terrible. I don't even want to recreate it. I would have to get like thick sheet metal and hit the concrete rapidly. Another thing that I'm going to show you is the warning signal. Right now it's detected, so it's a quiet ride right now. Right now it's detected that the front of the car, the front trunk has been left open. Because I opened it one day and the latch didn't activate. The latch is broken. But the car is detecting that the trunk is open. So I drive and it says warning. Be cautious as the front is open. So at least it lets me drive, but all you hear is this terrible noise. Kick, kick. So annoying. So obnoxious driving like that. I can't even play music, and that's the best part about this car, are the speakers. So another thing you should keep in mind is that AC malfunctions, and especially in cold weather, there are moments where the AC, it just completely fails. It was -20 at one time in the winter last year, failed on me. Everybody's in the car with me, freezing their butt off, and what did I have to do? Call Tesla. Say what the heck is going on. They told me to restart. I restarted it. It worked for a little bit, and then it stopped working. I had to restart it again. So you have to restart it multiple times, sometimes for it to actually work. Which, that's how you solve that problem. But another thing about the AC, about the cabin AC, that you might not be aware of. Teslas are known to build up mold. So if you're not clearing your air filters and you're not cleaning it every year, not even every year, every 6 months, I would recommend in a Tesla. If you're not clearing it and you're not putting that mold spray, then you could build up mold. And when it's warmer, this is more noticeable. It starts smelling like used up poom poom, like fart. And You don't know where it's coming from. Oh, it's the AC. You know, this is kind of no. This is a lot of people deal with this, and you'll know if you do your research. But I'm no stranger to this. Luckily, we have winters here, and I've already cleaned my air filter and everything. But when it's really warm, it gets that terrible smell at random times. So I don't like that. And also, we have a defrost option in the car. So in the app, when you go into climate, you have a defrost option right here. You see that? And when I use the defrost option, it's great. You know, it warms up really quickly in here. And the inside of the cabin warms up, you know, like the back, the snow is melting off, the mirrors are clearing, the side view mirrors. And just yesterday, it was one of the major snow days here in Calgary, and my windshield cracks terribly. Like this whole, I'll show you, terribly. And I understand that this is how we do things over here. You know, this is how we do things. We just blast the AC inside the car. Well, I've already replaced the windshield once on this car, just so you know, which was not cheap. It was around $1,200. And I went to the Deco windshield guy to get some cracks filled in for the windshield because this car is also very prone on getting rocks thrown at it. Because here in Calgary, we use rocks to get rid of snow. And he said this is so common for Teslas. Not only the rocks, but the temperature change, the temperature difference in the inside and the outside of the cabin, that makes the windshield crack. It makes the windshield crack pretty bad, and it's very common in Teslas. Not as common in other cars, and I wonder why. This is one of the most obnoxious things that you can't really help if you get the Tesla Model 3 Performance, because the stock tires are 20-inch tires with little rubber. Very thin wheels. Tires, I mean. Very thin tires. And they have this issue where if you're driving in any bumpy roads, you hit a pothole, you go camping and you're off-roading for like even a minute, you're going to puncture your tires. And it's happened to me multiple times. I was even renting out this car and somebody ended up puncturing the tires in this car in the worst condition, which he was in Yellowstone, like in the States, and I had to get this car towed and paying import fees and everything. I got reimbursed, but it was a huge waste of time. I was without my car for 2 weeks. So just watch out. Change the tires. I recommend you change the tires to 18-inch rims and get some thicker tires because you're gonna need it. And that's the normal tires that these model can get is the 18-inch rims because the brake calipers are so damn big, which is a little bit of a flex. You know, it's actually nice to have them. The body has its issues, and what I'm saying is the body, things fall off the body. With normal wear and tear, things fall off, things get deteriorated, and the first year of owning this car, I started noticing rust on the side of the car, side back of the car, near the wheel well. I noticed rust, and it's just a year in. And yes, that is depends on the conditions, depends on what you put your car through. If you leave in the garage and let it be humid and let the snow melt and whatever, it might build up more rust. You might, depends, right? But the body, the paint in particular, is so bad. Is terrible in this car. And that's why when I got this car, I didn't pay for any other paint options. I just got the stock paint because Why are you paying extra for paint when it's going to be bad anyway? You might as well get this car wrapped. And in winter, specifically because we are in winter right now, the car, the handles, the door handles get stuck. So you gotta punch it really hard with your thumb. The charging port, sometimes that gets stuck. And you might have risk of breaking the charging port, which if you break the opening for the charging port, that little electronic opening mechanism, that costs like $300 to replace. So it's not fun. It's not fun if you break that. And there has been times where it's so iced out that I have to punch it out. I have to like hit it with an open palm, break the ice on it because it's so stuck that I need to charge my car somehow, right? Also, I mentioned charging, and the fact that I don't have to fill this thing up with gas is great. I recommend you get a bigger charger at home for charging. Yes, you don't have to pay for gas, that's great, but when you go to a supercharger, you're pretty much paying gas prices. And the reason why is because you are not as efficient as you think you are. You are not. You might charge and then getting to the supercharger, that's wasted electricity right there. Coming back from the supercharger, that's wasted electricity. Depending on what you're doing, if it's out of the way, that might be wasted. Also, peak hours. When you charge through the day, it's going to be more expensive than if you're charging through the night unless people are using electricity. That's just how it works. If you charge at home, that's the best prices you're ever going to get. If you're charging a 32 amp, like the dryer plug, and you're charging your car all the time with that, you're actually really good. You don't need to probably ever use a supercharger if you have a big charger at home. So let me show you some little aesthetic imperfections. So the front hood, it's gonna get pretty messed up. This is plastic and this is metallic. So this is gonna get damaged just from rock chips or just from bugs. It's very hard to clean. Over here, as you see, this is off. What happened to the cover of this? I couldn't tell you. I just saw it one day and it was missing that piece. This car came with mud flaps. Mud flaps in the front and mud flaps in the back. From normal wear and tear in driving this car, since it's so low to the ground, the mud flaps have come off. And they've come off in a pretty ugly way too. Another thing you should keep in mind is tints. You see this? So that's the tint coming off. The side door window lowers when you open it, and then it goes back up. That messes up the tints. I've had my tint guy, have to redo that already, and I don't want to come back to him. So another thing you should keep in mind is the bottom of this car. I'm not sure if you can see it. Another thing you should keep in mind is the bottom of the car. It comes out. I messaged Tesla about the bottom coming out, and I said, is this covered under warranty? Can you cover it? And they don't cover it under warranty. That's normal wear and tear. And the parts for replacing that is around like $800. So, do I need it to drive? No, I don't need it to drive. And plus, the battery warranty is a little longer than that. I think once I actually get to 120,000 kilometers, I can't actually like it's not covered anymore. It's not covered under the drivetrain and the battery components warranty. So I might be liable after that. But how long will your Tesla last? Depends how you drive it. Depends how often you bring it in for maintenance, because the truth is you expect an electric car not to have very much maintenance. I have the tools at home to replace tires. I bought my own tires, I change my own tires, I save myself some money, do my own tire rotations and such. But that's not all you gotta do, it's not just tires. So keep that in mind. So this is how the car looks on the Tesla app. And this is how it looks on the screen, obviously. It's detecting as that the front is open. And do you see it open? No, it's not open. It actually can't open. And the reason why it can't open, funniest thing, so the technician, he came today to give me a visit. And the technician was telling me a few things, a few very informative things, very helpful. He told me that he should be charging me for the inspection that he was supposed to do today, but he already knows what's wrong, so he's gonna save me the money. The visit that he gave me this morning is gonna be on the house. He's not gonna charge me for it, but he will set another appointment with the cost of the parts and the labor, saving me around $150. So what he has to replace is this wire that most probably got chewed out by some rodents, probably some mice, since we don't have rats in Alberta. And these rodents just like to eat vegetable oil that they use for insulation. They use the vegetable oil to insulate the wires. So the mice think it's delicious, and they chew up these wires, and then my latch stops working. So another thing that they tell you is, be wary of leaving food inside your car, because that also might be a reason, but really it's because they're going the vegan route. So just keep that in mind. If you're a big vegan guy, vegan seats, vegan insulation, like, that's edible. All that stuff, So mice could chew through your wires.